Welcome back. So, this time next year, it'll be done. The UK will be out of the European Union. Well, today, the British Prime Minister Theresa May is marking the moment with a whistle-stop tour of UK nations, travelling to Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Let's head now to Westminster and to Christian Fraser. Christian, so this time next year we'll be out, but what out looks like is still really unclear, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There's still an awful lot of detail that needs to be filled in between now and March 29th, 2019, and a lot of people want to see that detail. It is a symbolic day, as you say, but here in rainy Westminster, not a lot going on behind us because, of course, most MPs are heading for the hills for Easter. But as you say, Theresa May has been going around the country. She was with textile workers this morning in Scotland. She's been at a mother and child class in Newcastle later in the morning. Then she went over to Ireland to meet the farmers. She's with businesses in Wales this afternoon, and then she's with Polish people here in West London later today. So ticking all boxes, both Remain and Brexiteers. And what she said is that she's really issuing a rallying cry to the country to come together and seize the opportunities of EU withdrawal. Of course, this time next year there will be people celebrating, but some people will be pretty sad about it, and notably those 3 million EU citizens who live here in the UK. So we're going to get a flavour of what it means to them. Let me introduce you to our guest, Julien Hoez, who is a French citizen living here in the UK, although he was born here in Britain. Catherine Barnard, who is a professor in European Union law and employment at Cambridge University, and also Katia Vidlak, who represents the 3 million, or the group. You are a spokesman for the group that is called 3 million. So let me start with you first of all. You speak to a lot of your members of this group. What are their major concerns?
The major concern is, like, we're 1 year to the day we Brexit, and it's been already 642 days since the result of the referendum. And despite this government telling us that we will live our life as before, we still don't have, like, our guaranteed rights.
What rights do you want guaranteeing?
All our rights. You know, we were promised that during the Leave campaign as well. They promised that we could stay as we are. The thing is, things we are losing is probably our freedom of movement. For example, in 1 year time, I will have to apply for a special ID card that will allow me to work, access services, and live and rent a place, for example. But with that card, if I leave the country to look after my elderly parents, for example, for more than 5 years, I won't be able to come back and keep that card. I will have to apply to the new immigration system in place for EEA nationals.
Julien, I mentioned that you were born here. Do you feel British or do you feel French?
So for me, my national identity is firmly French. It doesn't show my accent, of course, but I feel like a Londoner. This has been where I've lived all my life. This is where, aside from being French and spending most of my summers and many Christmases in France and having most of my family in France, I still have my life here, my work, my family, my friends. So it's a complicated
But the guarantee from the European Union, and there was an agreement in principle last week, citizens' rights has been signed off, is that nothing will change for you. So why is it that you signalled to me that you would want to leave and go back to France?
Well, there's been many agreements in principle that have been reneged on previously by Theresa May's government. Specifically, we had the issue of the Irish border re-emerge after the negotiations just before Christmas, which left everybody questioning whether the Theresa May's government was really serious about the agreements they were striking with the EU government. And in general, we don't have anything concrete yet.
Catherine, one of the slogans of the Brexit campaign was taking back control of our borders. People do feel very strongly about it in the UK. They say our town is changing. I can't get an appointment at my GP surgery, or I can't get my child into a school. So there are real concerns for British people, but at the same time, when you look at the polling, they do want skilled EU workers to remain here in the UK.
That's right. You get this very mixed message. In the run-up to the referendum, it seems that immigration was probably the principal factor which drove people to vote leave. What's striking, as you say, is that the polling has shown quite a significant decline in the hostility towards immigrants, and indeed a recognition of both the economic and cultural value that EU migrants bring. The question is, how do you deal with this process? Because we've got both the 3.5 million EU migrants who are here at the moment. How do we deal with them? Well, that's where the deal was last week. It looks like they will get settled status, but it's not as good as it was before. This is where Julien was right. But going forward, how are we going to deal with EEA nationals? Are they going to be treated in just the same way as non-EEA nationals are at the moment? So that would be a national coming from India or Pakistan. Or will the UK government say, actually, we do need the skills that EU migrants bring, and so we give preferential access to EU migrants even post-Brexit? And in that situation, then the question is, how do you develop a scheme? Will it be based on just skilled migrants?
But the evidence seems to be, Katia, that you could devise a system such as Catherine is describing there, but would EU citizens want to go through all the bureaucracy when they can go to 27 other countries?
Probably not. The thing is, people have different options. It depends on people's circumstances, for example. Thinking that people's life don't fit neatly in a tick box. We have people that are married to people from outside Europe that are here or have been here for a long time, that have
maybe
like
have
children and families. And where is home?
Yeah.
I've been here like nearly 20 years. Some people have been here 45 years. You say to them, going home, where is home? Here is home, you know. Then it's more complex. A lot of people have made the choice to go back into the continents, but for some other people, they don't have much of a choice. They've got a mortgage, they've got so many things that make them like tied into the UK that it's complex. It's really, really complex.
And even though, Julien, they're putting processes in place, both for UK citizens in Europe, and we mustn't forget them because they face the same problems that you face here, there's a cost involved.
Yeah, there is, and I think...
Just talk to us about that cost, though. I mean, what would it cost you to become a British citizen, even though you were born here?
Yeah, so for me, because of the circumstances related to my birth and the circumstances of my parents, who are both French nationals and have lived here since before I was born, 25, almost 26 years ago now, for all of us, if you wanted to be nationalised or naturalised, it would cost us upwards of maybe £1,000 to take a test that would somehow dictate whether we were British or not to be naturalised. And that's a problem because it almost disregards the contributions we've made to this country, the fact that myself, like my siblings, we were educated here for our entire lives. I went to university here, primary school, secondary school.
So is the secret, Catherine, if you're going to devise a system like this, you just have to clear out as much of the bureaucracy and the cost as you can so that you encourage freedom of movement?
Well, the trouble is the Prime Minister's in a bind, and the bind is that she said she wanted to get immigration down to the tens of thousands.
I must draw it to a close. I'm really sorry. Thank you very much for being with us. Back to you.